Hi everyone. In our previous lecture, we discussed about @before all and @after all annotated methods, that how they behave in lifecycle per class mode. So in this lecture, we will discuss about @before each and @after each behavior in lifecycle per class mode. So friends, @before each annotation in lifecycle per class mode is used on the instance method present in our test class. So this annotated method is called just before each and every @test method, but the only difference is this time it is called on the same test class instance. So what do we mean by it? That in our previous lectures we discussed that when we use lifecycle per class mode, JUnit creates only one instance of test class. So therefore this @before each is called just before each and every @test method, but on the same test class instance. And when we use lifecycle per method mode, @before each was called before each and every @test method, but each time there was a different instance of test class. So this is the only difference when we use @before each in lifecycle per class mode, that there is only a single instance of test class on which the test cases are executed. And this annotated method gets called multiple times depending upon the number of @test methods we have in our test class. So for each @test method, @before each method gets executed. So inside @before each, what we do is we simply do the setup of our test data, such as instance variables and resources, which can be used during the @test method execution. And why it is important? Because if we don't do this, then what we have to do, that inside every @test method we have to initialize these variables and resources. And let's say if our class has many test methods, then we will see the code duplication across the test methods. So in order to avoid this code duplication, what we do is we simply provide the creation of our test data, such as setting up the instance variable and resources inside @before each annotated method, so that this logic can be reused inside each and every @test method. So friend, @after each and lifecycle per class mode works very similar to @before each. So this annotation is placed on the top of instance method present in our test class. And similar to @before each, this annotated method gets called just after each and every @test method, but on the same test class instance. And after each annotated method gets called multiple times depending upon the number of @test methods present in our test class. So here what we do in @after each annotated method, we simply do the cleaning up of instance variables and resources which we had used in our test method execution, and which we might have initialized in @before each annotated method. So here all the cleaning up of instance variable and resources are done in @after each annotated method. So friends, now let's go to Eclipse and see the demonstration of @test instance lifecycle per class mode, and we will also see the demonstration of @before all, @after all, @before each and @after each, and we'll see that how they behave differently when lifecycle per class mode is used.